So this is a movie about arrays and Boolean calculations. A Boolean data type is a data type that has two results and only two results. True, false, for instance. We're going to apply that concept to or and conditional calculations. And then we're going to apply all of that to building some array formulas using the SUMPRODUCT function and the SUM function. So Boolean and or in this case, it's going to be true, false. So a Boolean data type has only two possible values. In this case, it's going to be either true or false. For the purpose of this movie, I've laid out some data in a horizontal orientation by rows instead of by columns, which is how we typically see it. And I've done that because I think it's going to be easier to work through and apply these concepts as we go down the worksheet. So I have sales values, and I have a salesperson. And then I've got some conditional testing formulas in these cells. The first one being, is the sales greater than 300? In the first case it is, it's 306. The second case it's 407 it is. The third case it's not, it's below 300, it's 175. The second condition I'm testing for is to whether the salesperson is Dave. The first case it is, the second and third case it's not, the fourth case again, it's Dave. So for Excel, true, the Boolean result true equals 1, and the Boolean result false equals 0. So you can do calculations on these Boolean results, which is what I've done in these cells. I've actually added together true plus true, which maybe oddly enough equals 2, because of the way Excel handles the Boolean result true and false. So I built that formula that way because what I want to do is determine whether one condition or the other condition exists. And the way you do that is you add up the Boolean results from the conditional formulas. So if 1 or 2 is true, I get 2 as a result. If one condition is true and the other is false, I get 1, and I'll only get 0 as a result if neither one of the conditions are true. False plus false, 0 plus 0, is 0. To build an AND situation, you would multiply those conditional results, those Boolean results. So true times true is 1 times 1, which equals 1. And anytime you get a false, indicating that at least one of the conditions is not satisfied, Excel will multiply 1 true plus 0 false and generate a 0 as a result. 0 times anything is 0. So what do we then do with this information? Well, we've constructed a series of arrays. We have the sales array, we have the salesperson array, and then we have the arrays that are generated from the conditions that we're testing for. So we're going to apply all of this in a SUMPRODUCT function. The SUMPRODUCT function multiplies one array times another array. And if you only have one array in the SUMPRODUCT function, then you've really converted the SUMPRODUCT function to a SUM function. But the SUMPRODUCT function is programmed to innately handle arrays. The SUM function is not. So the first thing we want to do is build a SUMPRODUCT function that will generate a result where either one condition is true or the other condition is true. They don't both have to be true. And since we already know that for OR situations we're going to use addition, we know we're going to add something together in the context of constructing this formula. So I've got a SUMPRODUCT function in this cell that's generating a result, and I've got a text version of that same formula to the right of it. So as we work through this formula, we're going to sum the sales array, and we're going to multiply that sales array by the result of the conditional testing on the first array plus the conditional testing results on the second array. And we already know what those results should be. So I'm going to go to the formula evaluator and evaluate which matches up to the results that we have for the condition 1 test. Further evaluating this formula, we're going to evaluate the second condition test, and that array, of course, matches up to condition 2 results. So keeping in mind that Excel handles a true as 1 and a false as 0, when we add those two arrays together, we generate an array that equals the addition of the Boolean result that we got from testing for condition 1 and 2. True plus true equals 2, and so on. So now we're going to multiply that array that we've generated by the array for the sales. Clicking Evaluate twice more, we've generated an array that equals the first array in the SUMPRODUCT block here, block number 4, which is wrong. And it's wrong, evaluating one more time, 2907, it's wrong because in the first array, the sales, the first value is 306. The OR condition has added true 1 plus true 1 and given us 2. And when we multiply that together, we double up the sales for that first data point in the sum product calculation. So how do we fix that? Well, we just need to add one more test so that the OR array that we generate within the formula, each one of those values is going to be tested as to whether it's greater than 0. And we're going to convert the array that we currently see into another array, a Boolean array. Is it greater than 0? Yes, no. If it is greater than 0, yes will be true, which equals 1. False is 0. And so we convert any number that's greater than 0 to a 1. So it doesn't matter really how many OR conditions that we have that are satisfied. There could be 7. And we do that because we want a 1 to be multiplied by that first data point so that we don't double or triple count that first data point. So when we walk through the formula again by using the evaluate formula functionality, we have the conditional test results for the first condition. We have the conditional test results for the second condition. We have the array that's generated from the or the addition of those two arrays. But we're going to convert this by testing as to whether each one of those items in the array is greater than 0. And when we evaluate two more times, we've now converted that to a Boolean result, true, false, true, false. Evaluating twice more, we get the correct result. So for the AND calculation, it's a little bit more straightforward. Either all of the conditions are going to be met or they're not. So we have a strict Boolean situation where all the conditions are met, it equals 1, which we can multiply by the sales amount, or it equals 0, which we multiply by the sales amount. So there's only one sales amount where both conditions are met. It's above 300 and the salesperson is Dave, and the sales value for that particular data point is 306. And the way we get there, using the formula evaluator, that's the test for the first condition, the test for the second condition, and multiplying all that out gives us an array so that the SUMPRODUCT function will then add together all of those data points and give us the correct result, which is 306. The only difference between the SUMPRODUCT function and the SUM function is the fact that the SUM function is not programmed to handle arrays innately. But we can generate the same results with the SUM function by converting the SUM function to an array function, which is what I've already done. If I take those curly brackets out by pressing F2 and enter in all three cases, we get an error because, as I said, the SUM function is not innately programmed to handle arrays. So I'm going to F2, Control-Shift-Enter, F2, Control-Shift-Enter, F2, Control-Shift-Enter to convert those to array formulas. So that's the Boolean data type, looking at applying that in an and/or conditional structure. We looked at some data and we applied some formulas to generate an array that's a Boolean array that equals either true or false. And then we added together those results so that we had an OR situation that we were analyzing, and we multiplied those results together to measure whether we had an AND situation where all of the conditions applied. And then we used the SUMPRODUCT function to construct an OR calculation that was incorrect because of the way that the OR calculation was derived by adding all the Boolean results, so that we had to adjust the formula a bit and convert that array back again to a Boolean array, true, false, which then we could multiply against the sales data points. In the AND situation, we multiplied the Boolean results and then multiplied that array against the sales array to generate the correct result. And then we showed how all of those concepts can apply also to the SUM function, only you have to convert the SUM function to an array formula by pressing Control-Shift-Enter.